Hello, wild horses. This is a new episode of The Old 52, brought to you by my comic series, Red Knight. All 6 issues are available on the Manos Publishing Etsy shop and primalpapercomics.com. Check them both out. They're pretty easy to order, either print for $3 or 99 cents for digital. Now, this is the Old 52, where I discuss past #1 titles, and they are old defunct series. They deserve another nod. Since we all love #1 so much, hey, anybody remember cross-gen comics? No, wait, don't go anywhere. The 90s independent creation came out of Florida, I think it is. And what they were doing was something interesting. All their main titles involved these separate planets and these unseen gods who are discussing to each other their various plans. And what's going on is they feel like life has become too stagnant. So to shake things up a bit, they are giving 1 or 2 people on each of these worlds a power to reshape these worlds however they see fit, really. And each title took place on a new different world. Some were like fantasy worlds, and some were Victorian type worlds. And Merridian is one of these titles. It was written by Barbara Kessel and drawn by Joshua Middleton, although there was a couple artists on this book. And this title was actually my favorite. The other one I really liked was Ruse, which was shortly brought back for a 4-issue miniseries just recently, which, by the way, they completely... When Marvel brought back some of the cross-gen books recently, and I guess that's over, it seemed to be that they eliminated the whole gods giving people powers thing, and they just did the titles with the characters, which is fine with me. But that's kind of how they tied all these books together. They weren't crossing paths or anything like that, because I imagine these worlds were light years apart. Although I didn't stick with these books for long, so I imagine eventually they did maybe find each other. But it was kind of an interesting experiment, actually. And on this world, Merridian, we follow the adventures of her, Stephanie. And she is the daughter of the king of this world. And essentially, we have, let's see, what do I have a picture of it? Yeah, floating kingdoms. Like, what, 15 years before Avatar or something like that? And of course, you know, their people live down on the planet surface. They go back and forth through these, you know, little airships and stuff like that. By the way, how much would it suck to live on this part? But I would not want to live on a floating mountain. But, I mean, it looks neat, sure, but I don't know. I like my feet a little bit more on the ground than that. Anyway, her uncle, let's see, Elion, I think his name is, Minister of Catador. He has been having a series of sharp political discussions with the king, her father, where they've been kind of disagreeing on how to administrate the powers of their kingdoms. While her uncle and father are having this discussion, a bird, which is actually one of the gods, shows up and gives them their powers. They're chosen. But the king is sick, and he did not survive the power. So when Seth came to cradle her father in her arms, she received the power. Now, we learned that her uncle was actually in the process of, he was about to kill the king and try to take over. And he actually tricks her into thinking that somebody was about to assassinate her as well. So he looks like a big hero to her. But we get the feeling that he has brushed her off and trying to get rid of her. So basically, he's taking over a coup. At the same time, they have both received very strange, unknown powers. At this point, you're not even sure what they can do. Anyway, that starts our series off right here. And then she goes on this quest where she becomes, wanted by the new king, who is her evil bastard uncle. Interesting series, I gotta say. I wasn't reading much like this when it came out. There was a nice, there was an interesting portion of fantasy here, and not too European Lord of the Rings kind of fantasy stuff like that. It was a really interesting world that seemed to have its unique qualities. The characters I thought were really engaging, especially the hero herself. I liked it a lot. These were all traded. CrossGen was an interesting experiment that didn't last very long, actually. From what I remember, I mean, after a few years, it just kind of caved in. I remember I was working at Barnes & Noble, and all the trades, like, went on, geez, 75% off, like, instantly, when that company went under. Now, of course, they recently were bought by Marvel. Merridian wasn't one of the titles they resurrected. Ruse was one of them, which was a great 4-issue miniseries. I think, Lindsay, you read Mystic, I think it was one of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's an advertisement for Mystic in here, by the way. And I think they eliminated the whole sigil thing, which is fine with me. But because a number of these titles I thought stood on their own pretty well, and could have survived without even that aspect to the series. You could find these pretty easily. If you find this interesting, you can find some of the trades probably for pretty cheap, or just the individual issues in dollar bins. It's worth your time. I wouldn't mind checking it out. I think that's it for now, so push the button, Lindsay.